Welcome to another edition of Voices of Innovation, the authors edition. And that is all about introducing you to some of the great authors of the book, Voices of Innovation, because the second edition comes out July 17th. And you can actually pre-order now, and we'll put the link, under in the comment section or something. And the publisher has been very gracious about letting us give you a discount. So if you pre-order, you get a discount. That's good for everyone. But Brittany, as you know, there's really like 3 or 4 reasons why we're all pretty jazzed about this book. One is it offers a framework that really didn't exist. So a lot of times, innovation can be so nebulous, like a strategic word, but no one knows what it means or how to do it. So HIMSS, to their credit, came out with an innovation framework a few years ago, and it's pretty decent. And really, the book is centered around that innovation framework in terms of how it's organized. So there's different chapters. There's 8 sections of that form this innovation framework. And there's 4 or 5 examples from around the world, including yours, and for each of those pieces of the framework. So at the end, all stitched together, it's like a handbook. Like, how do you do innovation? Right here. And then you have examples from around the world. And everyone's so nice and friendly. You can look up those people, and get more information if that's something you're interested in. So one of the great things is it put out like a lot of new content to get people going on innovation, saving more lives. And the other thing is great for the organizations and the people that write. It's just good for you and your career, and also highlights your organization. But my favorite reason, Brittany, and I know yours as well, we all as authors, no one's taking a penny. All the author royalties go, in this case, to Mary Crowley Cancer Research. So the introduction is done by the CEO of Mary Crowley. Her name's Jennifer Fox. She also has a contribution in here. And Mary Crowley, what they do, I'm on the board. They're located in Dallas-Fort Worth, and they're a phase 1 clinical trials medical center. So this is where people go when, everything else has failed. So our mission statement there is where hope lives. So it really helps people and helps save lives. There's a lot of good trials done there and things that have actually gone through trials and are standard medications today. All right, big intro because we really want everyone to buy the book, but most important part is you, Brittany. So Brittany, you and I have known each other for a few years, and we actually collaborated on a different book together previously. And it was with our friend Sherry, and it's a great book. And then we got connected, and I was out in San Diego, and which I love, and I'm so jealous. You're posting pictures all the time on Twitter about all the great scenes running along the beaches and everything, and it's a great place to live. But we did connect up there as well, and you shared a little bit more about what you're doing, some pretty compelling things. So why don't you introduce yourself, and then we'll jump right into your contribution into the book.
Sure. So I'm Britt Partridge. Right now I'm serving as the virtual care technical manager for UC San Diego Health. Most of my background is as a clinical informaticist, both here and then in Ascension all over the US. But yeah, I've done a lot of innovation because virtual care is constantly changing and it's really ramped up recently. So I was excited when Ed asked me to join the book.
Yeah, and your contribution is great, and I want to jump into it. And it's in our chapter all about collaborating and listening. So a lot of times, right, people do innovation and they do it in a vacuum and it doesn't really work. So there's a whole section on, hey, you need to collaborate and listen, and you do that phenomenally well. And the things you write about are really super practical. Can you share a little bit some of the overview? We don't want to give it all away because we want people to buy the book, but yeah, give us sort of an overview of what you wrote about.
Sure. So as someone that has a background in clinical informatics, workflow and really walking with the clinicians and the people that the tech is for is super important to me. So I tried to bring that anywhere that I write or innovate or work. And so one of the things I like to hammer home, especially to the technical teams, is that we have to listen, shadow, and embed with our clinical end users. And that's something I got introduced to very early on. I came from a fire EMS background, so I knew some of the healthcare stuff, but I hadn't really worked in the inpatient world. And so my first boss let me basically attach to a residency team, follow them around for 3 months and just basically live the life that they lived. And that really hit home for me why we need to follow our clinicians around, watch what they're doing, not just listen to what they tell you they're doing, and see where your technology could potentially hinder them if you're not paying attention. And I think that's something that's sometimes missed is we get really excited, we listen to their problems, but it's all just verbal and we're not watching how they're physically interacting with the system. Or one of my favorite things with virtual care is I've gone into the clinics and shadowed for current state, and a lot of times, a lot of the interactions they have with their staff are not what they would tell you would happen during an appointment. And so as we constantly build these new technologies, we have to be showing all of those little pieces we might have missed if we just talked to them on the phone, or talked to the senior level and not gone to the Gemba with your physicians. And so my portion of the book kind of talks through about 5 different examples of when it was really crucial that I went to the Gemba, that I embedded, that I shadowed, and that I learned. And then it also talks through about 5 different ways of how to embed and really work with your clinicians.
Yeah, and it's so important to do what you're doing. And I'm glad, it's in the book, because I've experienced the same thing in my career and how beneficial it was to, I love how you talk about, the listening, the shadowing, and embedding. And embedding, to me, right, you're going like a layer deeper. It's not just listening, you're like there physically.
Yeah.
Right. So it really makes it complete. And isn't there another benefit to that in terms of the overall relationship with the customer?
Yes. So I think that's where trust is really built. One of my first roles as a clinical informaticist was bringing surgeons up on an EHR from paper. And that's when I learned that trust is built over months of constant interaction and just showing up. I basically just like lived in the surgeon's lounge when I was teaching them, and they grew to trust me so that they would ask me questions and bring problems forward and get little gotchas that I probably wouldn't have gotten. And now going to my clinicians' offices or the OR or wherever my technology is being used, and they see my face, they know who I am, and that trust allows them to bring innovation quicker to me, because it's not a long gap between the identification of a problem or a potential iteration to when they talk to me about it.
Yeah, we could go on and on this topic, because the things that you're doing and the things that you wrote about are brilliant. And the thing is, as you know, they're simple to adopt, and it doesn't take like a degree. But why people do it, that's what I want to say. We could spend a whole 30 minutes on a podcast someday on that topics. Like, why don't you do it? Go out there and be with the people, and for all the reasons you cited. And that's when you get the innovation. So Britt, thank you so much for being part of this book. I know that cancers touch all of us in one way or another, and being able to be part of this book that adds value, like we talked about in the beginning, adds value to healthcare, helps save people's lives. And then ultimately, though, all the profits, at least the profits from I always want to be clear, is profits from the speakers, not necessarily the publisher. Profits from the speaker go to Mary Crowley. So it's like all good all the way around. And maybe a 3rd edition will never be needed, because everyone will be innovating so well. So, Britt, thanks for being a contributor and spending time with me today.
Of course. Thanks for inviting me.
That wraps up another edition, of Voice of Innovation, the speaker edition.